Ronnie Jarett, born 1945. Died 2000 aka Men's, the Italian word for half, because Jarett was half Irish and half Italian. His mother was Catherine Bonomo. Believed to be the last hoodlum killed by the Chicago mob in the 20th century. Jarett's killing on December 23, 1999, had been the first mob murder in Chicago since 1994. A longtime Chicago mob associate, Jarett 55, was gunned down as he was leaving his Chicago home and walking towards the funeral of another mob associate and a Jarett relative. Jarett had been an earner for the mob, a man who produced money through robbery, fencing, and juice collecting. He was also a convicted rapist. Jarett was first arrested in 1962. He went on to be arrested close to 60 times and suffered over a dozen convictions for various crimes including robbery, assaulting a federal officer, auto theft, weapons violations, and burglary. His first prison term came in 1965 and he subsequently served penitentiary time in the 70s and 80s. In 1981, he was sentenced and served 12 years for the robbery of a suburban Chicago jewelry store. Released in 1993, he acted as driver and bodyguard for the mafia advisor Angelo "The Hook" LaPietra, who assigned Jarett to coordinate dozens of mob-financed robberies. Jarett was one of the hit team that murdered burglar John Mendel, who stupidly led a burglary crew that stole hundreds of thousands of dollars of jewelry from Levinson's jewelry. Levinson was an old friend of Accardo's and the heist made Accardo look weak. When Mendel learned that Accardo's men were after him, he hid the loot in the rafters of his home and went into hiding. The hoods found the jewels and stashed them in a walk-in vault in Accardo's home. Remarkably, Mendel then broke into Accardo's home. That was the last straw. Mendel knew Jarett and trusted him, so Jarett was assigned to luring the thief out in the open. Waiting for Mendel were the Calabrese brothers and mob hitman Frank Saladino. The four men beat Mendel to death and stabbed him with ice picks. The 5 other burglars on his crew suffered basically the same fate. On the day Jarett was killed, at about 10:18 a.m., his killers, driving a yellow Ryder truck, pulled up to the corner where Jarett was walking. Jarett was on his way to an Orland Park funeral home for the visitation of his friend and mob turncoat Charles Guy Bills, who had died of natural causes. A gunman walked to the back of the truck and opened fire on Jarett, hitting him in the shoulder and arms and grazing his head and chest. The truck later was found burned in an alley in the 3200 block of South Normal Avenue in Chicago. Jarett survived but died in the hospital a month later in January of 2000. When he was killed, police suspected that Jarett was working under alleged South Side boss, John "Johnny Apes" Monteleone. There is only speculation as to why Jarett was killed, but it's widely assumed that he had been stealing gambling proceeds from mafia-run operations. While investigating the killing and trying to learn more about the warring factions in the Bridgeport Street crew, the police opened a probe called Vendetta 2 in which one of their wiretaps stumbled on $1 million a year cocaine ring centered in the South Side neighborhood. The information taken from the tap led to the arrest of Chris Marcotte, who was at that point recently released from prison for a 1992 conviction for second-degree murder in what police called a street gang-related killing, and Peter Frigo, both of whom lived in Bridgeport and were alleged to be members of the crew there. Early the summer of 2000, shortly after the wiretap began, detectives in the Organized Crime Division overheard conversations about a massive drug ring in Bridgeport. At about the same time, police in the Deering District began to take complaints about prolific drug dealing around the intersection of 31st and Halsted Streets. At that point the Jarett probe, Vendetta 2, spun off from its original mission and started looking into the dope ring. Police learned that the ring brought the mob, in the form of Marcotte and Frigo, in contact with the Southside Satan Disciples street gang, who allegedly purchased 22 pounds of coke a week from Marcotte and Frigo.